Deputy Speaker, I have years of experiencing disasters. Having lived in the Blue Mountains for more than 30 years, I've experienced the fires, and that includes the bushfire that took my own home in 2013. But let's go forward from my experience in 2013, 6 years forward to the Gospers Mountain fire in 2019. It was a longer fire. It destroyed more habitat, although fewer homes were lost. But I have to say it affected far more people. More people were threatened, had near misses, endured extraordinary conditions, and the fire responders faced things they never thought they'd see ever. There are people only now just realising the mental toll that it's taken, along with the cumulative effects of floods and COVID. In between those two bushfire events was the creation of the Emergency Response Fund. And I spoke in this place and I welcomed that fund. I welcomed its creation. But 2 years on, the only thing that's happened is that the fund has got fatter. A small amount of money has been committed, but only a measly $50 million has actually gone out the door. The interest earned has been around $725 million. So the fund is sitting there getting bigger, while the work that should be done to help prepare for the next fire or flood or other natural disaster simply isn't happening. And now we know that there's a round of funding opening up in just a few days' time, with the applications closing in early January, the 6th of January. And community groups are expected to be able to whip up a proposal to spend $20,000 to $10 million in that time. I think what puzzles me most is that the Hawkesbury, the home of the Gospers Mountain fire, is not being given priority points for bushfire, only for flood. So under this funding coming from the Emergency Response Fund, only projects targeting flood will get priority. And without the bonus points in this competitive round, it's hard to see what fire preparation projects or strategies might be successful. The timing of this grant round is appalling. It's at a time when people want to relax with family and friends as we head towards Christmas. And what you really have to wonder about with the timing is when the announcements of the successful projects will be made. No doubt perfectly timed to suit a Morrison election campaign. The Morrison government is good at announcements, but as we've seen with the Emergency Response Fund to date, that's the subject of this bill, their report card gives them an A for an announcement and a D for delivery. And when I ask community members who were deeply involved in the fires and the floods that we've had in the last 2 years about what fundamental things have changed that would make something similar much easier to bear, there is a fairly unanimous shrug of the shoulders and a shake of the head. In fact, the last couple of weeks have been ones of intense anxiety for people who live on the river as they watch the Hawkesbury water rise from the Warragamba spilling. There is no sense of urgency from this government about the Emergency Response Fund, nor the New South Wales government, in terms of making changes to laws so water can be better managed from Warragamba Dam. That is causing enormous anxiety, as are all the other things this fund could have been used for. The Bells line of road is easily cut during heavy rain. The bridges go under, and we could still easily find ourselves loading boxes of carrots into helicopters to get across the river, should we see something similar to the floods that we had in March this year. Greens Road at Lower Portland remains unrepaired. People cannot get through. They are still travelling a dangerous dirt road. The Upper Colo Bridge is a long way from being replaced. Cornwallis has barely been looked at, and the riverbanks still have massive, great big holes in them. It is no clearer to me or others what's been done to improve the evacuation routes out of the Hawkesbury, or what's been done to ensure that people know where the evacuation centres are. This fund could have done that. And if there's a fire, the same thing applies. It's not clear to anyone that when the RFS rightly says to people in Upper Colo or Colo Heights that now is the time to leave and you should head to Wilberforce, that there is anywhere to actually go in Wilberforce that would be a safer place. In fact, there are no additional safer places in either the Blue Mountains or the Hawkesbury, other than things that have been done through the efforts of local communities to upgrade their locally run facilities. So these are the things that this fund could have done, but it has failed to do that. Nor do we have improved mobile coverage or good NBN. The government did nothing to prepare for the 2019 Black Summer bushfires despite warnings, and once again we're in another disaster season with nothing built, no jobs created and no communities better protected. I know this Prime Minister doesn't hold a hose, but he should be doing everything possible to help my community hold that hose and fight the next fire, or be ready to fight and deal with the next inevitable flood. So this is the lost opportunity from this Emergency Response Fund to which this bill refers today. I want to take a moment to go into a little bit more detail about what residents at Greens Road in Lower Portland are experiencing. This is a road that was wiped out, let me remind you, 8 months ago. 8 months ago, the floods took sections of this road. Yet in that time, Hawkesbury Council and the state government have been unable to deliver any sort of temporary solution for people to keep the road open. All they've done is had plans. They open the road for a moment, they close it when there's 10 millimetres of rain. Of course, we've had weeks of rain now, and residents are profoundly affected by that. We have people living in this area in Lower Portland who are trying to do repairs still to homes that were damaged during the March floods. And yet here we are, they are unable to do those repairs. This is emblematic of the failure of every level of government to recognise the urgency that my community feels in getting action. Now, you might say that this is the responsibility of council and state government, yet the funding comes from this place. The funding comes through the things that we agree, and this parliament cannot ignore its responsibilities. When you are in government, you have a responsibility to ensure that the funds you allocate are properly spent and spent in a timely way. So I would urge the Morrison government not to step away from its responsibilities and say, there's the cash, it's over to you. I would urge them to step up and work with the New South Wales government and demand that the Hawkesbury Council speeds up the process so that people can get back onto their road and have a way to be able to get to their homes safely without causing even more trauma and anxiety for their families.